But yes, welcome to the first session of our Vision Quest. So the name of our group is kind of tongue in cheek, but also a little bit like serious too, because we're being asked to set the tone for not just like our social club, but like the board that is going to, help to, manage it and continue to uh, go after the vision and evolve the vision over time. And so, I think we're playing a pretty critical role in terms of bringing the social club to reality. Think of it as like the foundation for which everything else will be built off of.
Mm-hmm.
So the other subcommittees are going to be looking to our group to again establish that, mission, vision, and values, so that as they go off and work on their things, we can all try to be on the same page as much as possible. So before we get into that nitty gritty there, I wanted to take a moment to just kind of get us in the right frame of mind for vision. So if this was the days of our ancestors, we'd probably be having some sort of ceremony or ritual right now, maybe even taking some natural medicines to help elevate our thinking. Unfortunately, we're not in the times of our ancestors, so we'll do the next best thing here. And what I'd like to do is just kind of lead us through a mindfulness activity, again, just so we can set aside the worries of today, yesterday, tomorrow, get in more of that open-minded curious state that you need for like creativity stuff. And then take like about 10 or so minutes. I'm going to be playing music to just take some time to think about what our ideal social club would look like from just our point of view, right? From your personal point of view. So if you can imagine, like, whether it be it's after a long day at work and you're like, I'm going to the club, or it's the weekend and I'm going to the club. I want us to really think about like what that experience would be like. So what event are you attending? Are you attending an event? Or are you just there because it's a Tuesday and you want to stop in and see who's at the club and say hello? Or, and so when you arrive, what might that look like to you? What might it feel like, smell like? And then when you're there and you're settled in, what are you doing? Who's there? What's so like kind of keeping it more of like a dream, for now, but really centering yourself in terms of like what would that ideal experience be like for you, so that we can then pull out those elements and say like, okay, these are some commonalities that we have here, or these are some things we didn't think about, but they're really important in order to make the space inclusive for people. Because I think like inclusivity definitely will be a value of ours. But so we'll need like all of our different perspectives in that. Awesome. All right. So would anybody like to volunteer to go first?
So what I envision, like you walk in and I smell incense. So nice, inviting fragrances. Jasmine was a big pop for me. So that we have like different sections. So I seen like a big like conference room, event space. I seen us all sitting around a table having a meeting. I seen us sharing meals together at the table. I seen some office sections for people to come in and do work, host meetings there. We had kind of like a little beauty section where we have tips and people can come in if they need to meet with somebody there, so they can do that. We can do like photos in there. It's really just a place where it's like we're all so creative and we have all these different ideas and skills. So there's different sections kind of where people kind of can flourish and use their skills, and we can kind of build off of that. Yeah, because I was thinking like the Manchester Commerce, it's like, for business owners to go in, and there's like sections, and there's like just spaces for business owners to take advantage of if they need like a meeting space, if they need just like a little small office for the day or something like that. So that's kind of where my thought process was creating that kind of environment for us, but more catered to, all types of different things, not just
Right.
business wise, or we can have, do a paint night or just different things like that. Because I was thinking like the Manchester Commerce, it's like, for business owners to go in, and there's like sections, and there's like just spaces for business owners to take advantage of if they need like a meeting space, if they need just like a little small office for the day or something like that. So that's kind of where my thought process was creating that kind of environment for us, but more catered to, all types of different things, not just business
Right.
wise, where we can have, do a paint night or just different things like that.
So I'm there because it's like Wednesday, Tuesday. I need to wind down. So I'm gonna go. My plan is to go enjoy some food, maybe get a drink, and just see who's there, right? And so as I get there, so as I arrive, I would love to make the entry as easy as possible for members, but difficult for non-members, so safety. So like we could either enter, either using like a key code or like a QR code on our phone or something, but like I think like tech enabled space too would be great and modern,
Yeah,
right?
that's smart. Yeah.
And then like, depending on the time of day, my midweek wind down is, you walk in, there's kind of like mood lighting, maybe some music playing. I see like natural decor, so like plants and wood and like sort of more of like that, almost like an outdoor inside type of feeling. I smell scents like jasmine and lavender, and I see like art, right? In the entry, there's going to be some sort of art. Definitely, we're going to have like a big group picture of our members. Whoever's like a member at that time, it can make it for our group picture. We'll have like a big frame, a copy of that. But then also have a space kind of dedicated to our founding members. Again, to just sort of recognize the efforts that went into establishing this club and to leave a legacy behind too. These are like some of the details, maybe a little bit too much, but like Florida ceiling windows, kind of what you mentioned, Katrina, like the layout allows for socialization, but also solitude. So I imagine like big comfy couches and armchairs like in different places. So like if people are more open to wanting to like, talk with people, but then you might have like an armchair in a corner by like a bookshelf or somebody wants to go to like read or whatever.
Yes.
There could be like board games and other like test checkers. Maybe we have like one of those more modern day juke boxes where people can use their phones to play music on. And so in my little made up scenario, like I run into somebody that I haven't seen in a while, kind of similar to how it was when I first logged on and saw you, Katrina, hey,
Yeah.
how's it going? We catch up, I check in on the garden, the social club garden while I'm there. And then I'll sign up for some sort of like cooking class or other type of class there.
So yeah, I basically like kept thinking back to like when I was younger, like childhood, and just being like around my mom and like my aunt or like my aunties, and like how a lot of times, like during like family get-togethers, we'd come in, of course, there would be food, there'd be music, but there would always be like card games going
Yep.
on. So that was always like a big just kind of memory of like when I was a child. But also being able to go into a space where, like, obviously where I feel safe and comfortable, but I think also like bringing something there that people are going to take with them, if that is going to be classes or if it's going to be, like you guys were saying about like learning how to, braid, or it could be, I was thinking like even for the youth, like if there would be like options for them, maybe like tutoring or kind of other life skills, just working with the youth in like the community. And I'm also thinking like, also when I was a kid, like my dad, we're from Pennsylvania originally, and there was a club there that he was a part of. It's no longer a club anymore, unfortunately. But they did a lot with, I think across the street was like, it wasn't the Y, it was something, there were kids, and there was like a pool and baseball fields, and they would always have events at this place, but they would open it up to the community from time to time, and they'd do like a fish fry on Friday, or just playing cards, always cards. Or they would have big events where like you could, like they would call it the come home weekend, because a lot of people moved. So they would have this big annual event and people would come back home from, from all over. So yeah, so that was kind of what I was thinking.
I wrote a couple things down. One thing, like, is some learning some new skills, meaning like, I don't know if anybody knows how to sew, like make clothes or sew, or if things of that nature, hobbies, somebody has a hobby and they're willing to share share their hobby and how they do it. I definitely would be interested in something like that. Travel, if people are interested in traveling and they don't want to go alone, kind of like hey, I'm going to, Jamaica or Bahamas or something like that. How do anybody interested in going? In even some like wellness seminars, or even like aerobic, exercise classes, or things of that nature. That would be an interest to me. And then I was a single mother at a time point, so I thought about like, I was thinking about when I was a single mother, and being able to, you get so busy with mothering your children that you don't have the time to be, to kind of decompress and be you. And, maybe even if there was a thing where moms could come and bring their children, and there's like a, just a time, something where a mom and me class, and you can just be present with your child in that moment, versus like, going home, oh, I got to fix dinner, I got to get them ready get baths, and, all that stuff. There's like a time, like an hour or something, you can go and just decompress with your children. So something of that nature.
So I would love to see classes and speakers on health and different, hot topics, but from the lens of us. I would rather not, see a cis white man stand up there and tell us about our health. But pre-diabetes and weight management and things like that. I would love to see that. But also, I don't know too many Black women who don't have a side hustle. Right. So I would love to be able to support other Black women in their side hustle. Like Christmas is right around the corner, like Jody Brown, who does her scarves and clothes. We have to be intentional about where we spend our dollars, and our knowledge of what each other is doing is kind of the key. So I would love that information, that type of information. And not just within our club, but any Black women in the state of New Hampshire that could use our support with dollars. This is kind of a selfish ask because of my store, but it's daunting to put yourself out there with a business and still see, people spending their money at Walmart and Target, and when they could be I would be supporting or supportive of Black women businesses. So
I mean, I echo Alicia and Jamie with, classes. One of my goals, my family has kind of a different New Year's. Instead of doing a resolution, right? My son, who is 23 now, came up with, now 3 years ago, writing your goals for the year and then the decade, because we were in 2020, right? So, and it doesn't have to stay, it can be fluid. And one part of my goals is, reading. So maybe I see a bit of like a book club. I know that seems really, really simple, but there's so many amazing books that I've read in the last 6 months. And I'm like, oh man, I wish I could talk to people who understand. If I say Michelle Obama to my coworkers, they may not have the same reaction that you have. Right. So to share the books I'm reading in a safe space, that's one thing. But skills, my other goal was skills. And I agree with classes. I know how to do photography. I know how to edit videos and that kind of stuff. I know how to sew and and knit, right?
Yeah.
But what else can I do? Or what else can I learn from you, my sisters, right? And then, I also think, I know that there's space for younger children, or bringing your children and a mommy and me, but can we include that? I mean, I have a 23-year-old and we do hang out and we do stuff. And, I have a book of like, it's a mom and son, and it's all this amazing stuff that you share with each other. So I'll send the link to you guys, just so you have an idea of what I'm talking about as far as the book goes. But for older children, what kind of activity can we include them in? Does that make sense? Okay. And then and then I mean, the last thing, I don't have a picture of it, but I think a comfortable, you talk about what do you want to see, hear, and smell, comfortable, not super bright lights. I mean, if we need bright lights, we can have bright lights, right? For different activities, but just a very kind of lavender, vanilla essence, maybe some eucalyptus or orange in the bathroom, right? I mean, I really, when I think of, even teaching, you know, when my students walk in the room, I don't want it to be so sterile and right, and smell like middle school armpits.
Mm. Or clinical. Or clinical.
Or
Right.
clinical, right?
Yeah.
Or
So
like,
it's very
warm
like
chocolate chip
orange.
cookies.
Ooh,
I
chocolate
love
chip
that.
cookies. Yeah.
Yes, yes, chocolate chip cookies. Absolutely. You know, I mean, I think we're all food driven, right? So of course, and then you know, for fall for me it's apple spice and pumpkin. Um, you know, and per season kind of change the smells of the, and that's just diffusers or those what are those
Incense.
little things with the sticks and yeah, whatever. Something that doesn't, you know, mess up fire code, but just so nice, warm, inviting, comfortable seating with some, you know, tables, couches, chairs, what all the mix of different types of group you know, seating. So
Yeah.
that's a big one for me because I, you know, it's I'm literally in the woods. I've talked about this before, and it's I don't see us very often,
Right.
and I tend to be home, and I want to be able to go, be ready and happy to go out
Yes.
and see your faces also.
Yes.
Um,
I agree.
you know, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then I think also, I did write one more thing. I'm sorry. I'm like blah 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 blah.
No, it's fine.
Even you know, a few ladies that might be comfortable speaking to school districts that are not comfortable with what to do with diverse persons, you know, answer, because and I'm in schools, right? I opened a school, and anyway, you know, answer questions. You know, what do you do when this happens? What not to do with children that call others names, touch hair, educate on any differences. So I don't, you know, I think we as women can offer that help out also, you know, and kind of rally around if we hear of any situations like that, you know, not like rah, rah, rah,
Yeah.
but just I mean, we could do that if we
Nurturing.
really need to, you know, nurturing and offering that support. I can't tell you how many times I was in front of the people who don't look like me that didn't understand anything and just kind of poo-pooed it away, you know, with myself, my family, my son. Um, that's, and even now, you know, in the school system that I'm in other school systems, I think that might be good also.